everybody. Mike Griffith here. Welcome to the second edition of KM Squared, and joined by Kenny McIntosh and joined by Kendall Milton. This is their show every Sunday night, having some fun, talking about a lot of different issues. And, you know, guys, this week down there in Hoover, Alabama, it was the SEC kickoff event, the SEC Media Days, long-standing tradition. All the teams bring their coaches and a couple of players. And I guess I want to ask you, I'll start with you, Kenny. Did you catch any of that? And when you do media, what are some of the things you think about? I know you've been doing media for a long time, but what are some of the things that go through your mind? So one, your impressions on the SEC Media Days, and two, some of the things go through your mind when you do media interviews.
I didn't really get to see the media really. So my when I go into the media, really focusing on the questions that I'm being asked and focus down on the questions to sometimes be, you know, not really shade, but like trying to get you to say something that, you know, that you're not supposed to be saying. But some reporters out there, you know, try to do that, and it's definitely out there a lot. So that's the only thing I really look for, and just being calm and answering the questions, you know, comes natural. So.
I saw a little bit of the videos, you know, a little bit of the clips that were posted throughout Twitter and everything. And it seemed like a big focus this year was NIL. You know, there's a bunch of NIL type of questions, which is really different from the past years. I know that mainly it's asking about the season and, you know, what do you expect and that type of thing. So that was a, you know, big change that I noticed. And when I go into media, one thing that I always, you know, try to keep in mind is like you always gotta, I would say, be cautious and, you know, really listen to the question, because a lot of questions are shaped for you to, you know, answer it the wrong way to give out certain information. And I remember at the end of the day, I can answer the question however I want to. You know what I mean? I can say, you know, I feel comfortable answering that question, or, you know, it's basically I can react how I want to. So as long as I keep that in mind and, you know, continue to hear the questions all the way through, I feel like, you know, it'll be a good journey in terms of media. Yeah,
no doubt. So Georgia brought JT Daniels and Jordan Davis down there, Kendall. What did it mean that coach chose those two players? And then two, what does it mean when you hear that you're being called out for an interview? Is that a good thing that when Kirby calls you out, is that a good sign you're doing something right?
Like 100%, you know, those two getting called out for the interviews, that just showed how big of leadership roles they have on our team. You know, JT, quarterback of the offense, JD really in the trenches, you know, controlling it down there. And, you know, praise to those two dudes for doing that. And to get called for media, that's actually, you know, it's kind of it's like kind of an honor, because it shows that, you know, you've been doing something to set yourself apart. You've been doing something to kind of, you know, stand out a little bit. And I feel like, I wouldn't say it's like a reward, but it's like a sign of progress, I would say.
No, I wouldn't be surprised at all. JT is a leader on the offense, and Jordan is a leader on the defense. Those are both big, you know, roles on the team, and, you know, just them being called is not really surprising, because how high they hold the Georgia standard, and how well they do it, and whether that's on the field or off the field. So being called is really just a sign that coaches respect you. Not respect, but trust you. I mean, and that you can go out there and communicate well about Georgia, and, you know, and not only you doing it on the field, but your actions off the field that the coaches are really looking at, that shows them that they can really put their trust in you. So.
Well, guys, one of the things that so many people care about, and you see this with recruiting sites, you see it with recruiting rankings, football camps, it just seems to get so, and even recruits seem to care, you know, when they post things on Twitter, it is the whole recruiting aspect. And obviously both of you were very high profile recruits, identified very early on. And I got to believe this was just, it had a life of its own. Kendall, can you kind of take us through it? And, you know, you guys discussed just how crazy that recruiting and fun it was.
Well, for me, recruiting was very crazy, because I actually got my first offer in 8th grade. So I was maybe like 14 or something like that. And, you know, being that young, you're really not even focused on the college offer, I would say. Like, you're playing, I guess, middle school football. You're really just having fun. And once that happened, I realized, you know, how much this game would change for me. And as I got older, as I kept going through high school, you know, I would say I probably went to 2 or 3 college camps, but I would mainly go to the Nike camps, the Adidas camps, those type of camps. And ever since I would say my sophomore year, that was when my recruiting really took off. I remember it would be at lunchtime, and I would get 2, 3 offers every day type of thing, and ended to the points where I had like 40 something offers. And it was really just crazy for me because, you know, growing up in Fresno in the Central Valley or whatever, you know, there's always top recruits, but it's not too often that, you know, I would say to like that level, like getting offers every day and that type of thing. It was just something new to me. And to be honest, it was really just a blessing that I got the opportunities that I did. And, you know, I was able to make the right decisions when it came down to it, because there's definitely a lot of pressure on it. Because for me, when I graduated, I was 17. So I was 17 making that, you know, what they call a 40-year decision. And it was definitely a tough process, but I was definitely blessed to have my family. You know, my brother was there with me, my mom and my dad. They just continuously supported me. And, you know, I can only imagine, you know, how them boys in South Florida, Kenny, you know, I'm sure they had all the schools coming through there.
Definitely, man. That's crazy. I got my first offer in 8th grade as well.
That's what's up.
So that was, I remember that day like it was yesterday, just getting that phone call from that coach and just, you know, just being that young and just getting, you know, rewarded, because all the hard work I done put in, you know, it all pays off at the end of the day. And just going through that process at a young age was exciting. I mean, like, I can remember getting called out of class, multiple classes a day, college coaches coming to see me. It was just crazy and exciting. Definitely when Nick Saban put up on me in the helicopter. So just, you know, experiencing all that stuff, all that in high school at a young age, and, you know, it's a lot of fun, but then again, it shows that the hard work that you've been putting in since I first fell in love with the game. So Oklahoma was definitely another big one for me. They definitely came through with a whole staff to my high school one time and just flat out told me that, look, Kenny, we want to offer you, and that was that. And I think I was in my sophomore year then, and went to the colleges and just being able to see the campus at a young age. And Miami was my first one. What about you?
My first college that I went to, I don't even know. It probably was like Fresno State or something, you know, hometown type of thing. Because, you know, a lot of the schools that I was interested in, a lot of them happened to be on the other side of the country. And so it wasn't, you know, as easy to, you know, access those schools or whatever. But definitely getting towards the end of my high school career, I had like the top 4 of LSU, Georgia, Ohio State, Alabama. And that was really a tough decision, you know, because after every visit, you basically feel like you want to commit to a school because, you know, you see everything, you hear everything, you know, sounds like a dream, and you want to commit. But like I said before, it was a blessing that I had people to, you know, help me take a lot of the pressure off of me and just help me, you know, look at the bigger picture, look at everything that, you know, like they say, the 40-year decision. I had people that helped me see the bigger picture. So, and being in class, you know, normal school day, and, you know, my head coach calling me and saying, you have a coach here to see you, and walking in and seeing, you know, Coach Kirby Smart, or seeing Coach O, or seeing Coach Day from Ohio State, you know, it's definitely crazy because I know for me, you know, I remember watching The Blind Side and seeing Coach O in The Blind Side and stuff like that. So when those, you know, famous coaches, those coaches that have, you know, a lot of respect behind their name because of the things they accomplished, when you have them at your school and they're interested in you, they're trying to, you know, get you to go to their school. It was really, you know, crazy for me just sitting there and just being like, wow, like this coach is really here. And, you know, it's crazy that after, you know, all the time that I've been playing football, you know, that's how it, you know, came down to it.
My most wild moment would be, I have to say, visiting Miami, University of Miami. And my brother was on the team already, so just going on that visit and my brother on the team, people already know who I am because of my brother on the team, and just it already made me feel like I was a part of the team. You know, just being an eighth grader. It was a crazy moment because I'm watching my brother live out his dream, and I'm watching him grow and seeing him develop. And I just know in the back of my head, like one day that's going to be me, and being able to motivate other young football players, and that. So I'd say that was the most wild moment for me, just seeing my brother on the team. And
I know you got a good story on that. Like I know that one. And Kendall, weren't you a 5-star at one point and they took it away or something like that?
Yeah. Well, for me, high school, all throughout high school, I had that 5-star ranking, and going into the season, I would say the second week of the season, I had pulled my quad. So I was out about 4 weeks of the season, and I was like 3 to 4 weeks of the season. And, at the end of it, I checked out the rankings or whatever, and I seen they dropped me or whatever. And, it was kind of disappointing at the time, but once I got back healthy and everything in the season, I basically, the stats didn't lie. I proved why I had that previous ranking and everything. Looking back at it, it's not something that I really, dwell on, because at the end of it, rankings don't really have any effect on, college ball. Once you get on that field, nobody's talking about who's a 5-star, who was this ranking. It's all about what you can do now. So now that I look back on it, rankings isn't something that, if I were to tell somebody in high school right now, rankings isn't something that you need to really pay attention to too much. What you do on the field really speaks for itself.
I took a visit to Alabama, right? I wasn't rated in the 5-star, obviously. I used to, the All-American game used to come to my school and tell me how I was doing, because that's the All-American was the game I wanted to play in. They used to come to my school telling me how I was going to get that offer, blah, 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 to get them playing the game, stuff like that. But I can think back on one incident that happened on my, not an official, but a visit I took to Alabama. I was meeting with the running backs coach, and I was with my father and my uncle and my mother. I was just in the meeting room, and then I believe he's just stepped out. The running back coach stepped out for a second, and he had a list on the table. And the list had running back names, and my uncle spotted it first. So he as he spotted it, he noticed my name was like 3rd, 4th on the list. And that right there, once I seen that, like, Alabama was like off my list then. So it was no, what he could say. As soon as he came back in the meeting room, he didn't know, like, it was over with since then. But that was just one crazy moment that I went through, experience in my life.
Yeah, I would say for me, being a Cali boy or whatever, I really looked up to Najee. That was somebody that when I got the invite in 8th grade to it was called the 5-Star Challenge, the Adidas.
Yeah.
I was training with him and Stephen Carr, and I was a young buck training with these two, highly profiled running backs, and Najee was somebody that I really, really looked up to. Even through seeing his college career, he was somebody just put on for the state or whatever. Just kind of solidified that Cali ball could translate to the SEC, and that was somebody that was an inspiration to me to just keep doing what I'm doing and just keep trusting the process.
The both of you guys played other sports other than football.
Yes.
And I know and Kenny, I'll let you kick it off here, Kenny. You were on a basketball team. I don't know how much of a scorer you were, but obviously you had some pretty good guys around. You can share your basketball, and then Kendall, the wrestling background, I think is pretty interesting as well. So we'll start with Kenny.
Yeah, I played on the university, high school with Vernon Carey, Scotty, a lot of 5-stars, Drew, Trey, a lot of 5-stars. And the team was just filled with 5-star basketball players. And just me being that, the good football player that's athletic and, that's good enough to play basketball, because I played it since I was young too. And just being on the team with them, like, I can remember practices just going at it. Like, I wasn't the only football player that was on the team. I had Zay, I had Josh, and we was all just, all we know is hustle because coming from football, translating to basketball, we know how to hustle. So defense was really my thing on the court. Scoring all that layup, nah, I'm a pass. That's me. I'm a you feel me? So I'm a really defensive player. I lock stuff up, clamp, But our team ended up my senior year, sophomore year. In my senior year, I believe that we ended up winning the state championships. I was unfortunately getting in football, so playing basketball, that was the closest thing I ever, experienced winning a championship in high school. So just being a part of that team was fun, amazing, and exciting. I can think of one incident that happened, but first, what about you, Kendall?
For me, growing up, one thing I got into was wrestling, and it's crazy how I got into it because when I was younger, my dad, he'd always said, you should do this. And I'm like, nah, I'm not doing no wrestling. Like, I play football, I'm not doing wrestling. And, there was a tournament or like a wrestling match or whatever at my school. And I was just seeing it like, wrestling really a sport that it's man on man. You know what I'm saying? It's, basically seeing who gonna do who the worst way. And I was just watching it. And I came home that day and I told my dad I wanted to wrestle. And getting into it, it was rough because wrestling is one of those sports that it's all about mental strength. It's all about, like I said, it's you versus another man just going at it. And the first year was kind of that ease into a year. But by the second year, I basically was going undefeated. I was going to national tournaments, going undefeated, really just, sweeping. And it was crazy. I was on the California national team. And what we would do is we'd go to Ohio State and wrestle. It'd be like a state tournament. So we'd wrestle like other states, North Carolina, Pennsylvania or whatever. And, at that level, it's really serious. You know what I'm saying? Those are people that do this stuff all year. And I was just that one football player that happened to have a mean double leg takedown, you know what I'm saying? Really, tackle a dude. And, you know what I'm saying? I was able to do it to that level. But to be honest, by the time I got to high school, my school, I went to Buchanan. So Buchanan, if you're like a serious wrestler, Buchanan is one of those schools that every year the top 3 nationally, like no exceptions, nothing more or nothing less than that. And, me personally, I didn't have a real love for wrestling. It was just one of those situations that I was good at it, so I'm gonna keep doing it. So when it got down to really getting into the serious level, like the level of seriousness that my school, the coaches took towards wrestling, I wasn't for it. That was something that, didn't do nothing for me. But, I want to hear that basketball story that he's about to bring up.
Good question. Would you wrestle Jordan? Matt, would you get in the ring with Jordan?
Oh, most definitely not.
But back to my story. I can think of an incident where, back to me being on the opposite side of the ball on basketball. Me being a defensive player, I was playing defense. I ended up getting a steal. And this was one of the games, like, I think it was senior night. So we all, like, wearing KDs. This, like, I think I'm in, like, junior year probably. We all just, wearing KDs. The whole team got on different color KDs. And we thinking, we out there looking good and stuff like that. I got my girl in the stands watching me playing basketball. And I ended up getting this steal, right? So it's just me going down the court, fast break. I'm finna go bang out, right? You feel me? But before I can, even get the 2 dribbles, I ended up falling, tripping, and just I fell and the ball went out of bounds. And I just remember that because, that was just one funny moment that, everybody just laughed. And that's just one moment I'll never forget on the court.
And I want to kick something off because, I played a little ball back in my day too, you know what I'm saying? And I was one of those players, look, I was one of those players that, I ain't gonna say that I was the best basketball player, but I was young and very athletic, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So, playing in, I think it was probably like middle school, we go to tournaments and, I was an athletic player, so it's a fast break. I'm gonna try to bang out, like you said. So it was one game. They had threw the ball to me on the fast break. I go to bang out, boom, rim check.
No.
So it's like, okay, I'm gonna get myself back together, whatever. Like, we laughing about it because by this time we blown the team out by like 30. So really just playing with him at this point. So, you know, my homie, he blocks the second time. My homie, he blocks a shot, throws me on a fast break. I'm like, I'm finna bang out. Boom, rim check. Same thing again. So, you know, with that, you know, it was definitely crazy, you know what I'm saying? Because, you know, it was just a fun moment in time.
Definitely. I feel like if I was 6'6", I'm definitely on the court banging out. Whenever windmilling, fast break, all that, I'd have been on the court, went to the NBA. One and done. I went to college, one and done if I was 6'6".
They done brought the folks in the chat.
Hey, Richard, Kenny said he's going to go one and done if he's 6'6". We got Richard McIntosh and Chris Milton joining us tonight. A little surprise for the guys. I mean, they've been telling us how great they were at these other sports. Did you guys have them in the wrong sport, Richard? Should Kenny be lacing him up on a basketball court somewhere?
He's in the right sport, man. He's in the right. I'm not going to take it from him. I think he'd probably do anything he wanted to do, but he's in the right sport.
Chris, you put Kendall on the mat. He said he didn't even really like it. It sounded like.
Okay, first of all, that was Kendall's choice.
Okay.
He came home one day and said he wanted to wrestle, and Big Brother gave him hell about the singlet. But he stayed at it though. He stayed at it until it was getting real.
Richard, I know both you and Chris coached your sons, and obviously you went through it with RJ, now an NFL player with the New York Giants, and Dion up at Washington State. Kenny as well. You know, we had a lot of fun with Kenny, told the story about the nickname down there in South Florida. What are some of your memories of Kenny growing up and playing football and coaching him as you brought him along?
Oh, man. By Kenny being the last, the baby, it was real special with Kenny. I knew from the moment that Kenny was about 5 years old, I think the first time he ever put on football pads, we were in Ohio. I really thought Kenny was going to be a defensive player. You know, he hit like a train, man. We had a lot of complaining about how hard he would hit. He was playing with kids twice his age, not twice his age, but about 2 years older than him. And I knew Kenny was going to be real special because he had no fear. I kind of like when I look at him run those kickoffs, he's fearless with it. So that's my memory of just him being a tough, competitive. He think he can do anything. If you told Kenny he couldn't jump off the roof and do backward flips, he'll do it. He just was one of those kind of kids that, hey, he really believed he can do anything, and he was always competitive. He was one of my kids. He's one kid of mine that would always wrestle with me. He just always wanted to compete. And I really enjoy him. You know, I looking back at it now and seeing where he's becoming and where he's headed, I'm gonna miss those times, man. It's been special.
Chris, obviously out there in California, you had a chance to, you know, your older son played football as well, worked his way to Fresno State. Kendall told us about that last week, that testimony of watching him battle to get to Fresno State through the city college. But before Kendall was a big time running back at Georgia, he was a little leaguer. What are some of your memories and reflections on Kendall as a youth?
I remember Kendall's first year playing. He was in first grade, and I'll tell him now, he was trash. It was bad. It was embarrassing. So if you remember when he committed, she called him Twinkle Toes, going back to the Fred Flintstone when he was bowling, where he just kind of tink, 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 and then bowl. That was Kendall playing in the water trolley, man. It was frustrating because that was on the back end of Big Brother. And I just remember his second grade year, when we put on pads, I was actually out of town on a business trip. And the other coach, you know, I told him, I said, hey, bro, I don't know what to expect. Let's just put it that way. I mean, he looks good in the agility drills and everything. He great practice player, but I don't know what to expect when you guys put on pads when I'm gone. All I know is the calls I was getting back is that he was a banger, and he was out there banging. So something switched between that first and second grade year. And ever since that point, he was on an upward trajectory. And kind of like Richard said, I thought Kendall was going to be more of a defensive player. He played linebacker. Again, he was a banger. He had the speed to cover and contain. but he found his niche at running back, and he never really practiced a lot at the running back. He worked out with Big Brother doing DB drills, which is why for his size, his feet are like they are because he's always trained with defensive backs. So he's been learning how to use his hips and all of that type of stuff. And, you know, back then, even as he was going through, if you'd have told me he would be where he is today, I wouldn't have been able to fathom it. You know, even though I'm his dad and, you know, we were thinking, okay, maybe we can at least get college out of it. Let's just at least get college. This wasn't our stretch goal. So, you know, to be here is truly just a blessing. And I'm a fan. I'm a fan of both my boys, and I finally get to do that since I'm not on the sideline having to worry about other kids' families' feelings, right? So I'm just enjoying this.
Richard, I was getting ready to ask you that, and Chris, that's a great transition. How hard is it to let go? And again, Richard, I know you coached a couple other ones. You might have been ready by that time Kenny was done, but is it hard to let go? And now, you know, and I'll have both of y'all answer this. You know, you just sit back, like you said, Chris, you're a fan, you sit back, Dell McGee, Kirby Smart, Todd Monken, these guys are coaching Kenny and Kendall. How hard was it to let go originally? And is it tough right now to just kind of have to sit back and not be on the sideline with your hands on the controls of the team?
I do miss the sideline. I honestly do miss that. But I think being a coach, you're always a coach. And I think it's one of those situations where he might have got where, Dad, I've been listening to you all these years. And by the time I got to Kenny, I kind of pulled myself back just a little bit because I think I was a little bit more harder on the other boys because I wanted to just really, knowing Kenny was the last one, I wanted to enjoy that a little bit more. So I pushed, but not as hard as I did the other one. But it's been real hard to sit back and not be on the side or not be in, you know, that game talk before the game and all that you enjoy, you come to enjoy to do with the kids and everything. But I do like Chris said, I enjoy just watching. I'm a fan. I'm happy to just really, I never imagined three kids being at the level of football that I'm seeing from my boys. And I'm blessed. I'm grateful. I'm just happy to be a part of it, to see them go as far as they can go.
Well, I actually kind of I let my oldest son go in high school, and I let Kendall go when he went to junior high. And I always say that it was for the sake of our relationship, because at Kendall is very much Kendall. What'd you say, Kendall?
For sure.
Kendall is very much like me, and it would have got to the point where we would have thrown hands. It was inevitable that we would have thrown hands. So for the sake of our relationship, it was necessary that I turned him over to somebody that I trusted. And I'm going to be completely honest, that's probably the best thing that I could have done, because at that time he needed a different voice with different language. And I think he also needed just dad. He shared me for so many years. Kalon shared me for so many years. And it was time just to have dad. And like Richard said, man, is sometimes I have to catch myself, because after games I'll see something, and instead of getting in his head, getting on his head about it, you know, we'll turn it into a conversation. But the cool thing about it is he already saw what I saw, right? So It's just a fleeting conversation. We can let it go, and I can just put my arms around him and tell him how proud I am. So I'm enjoying, honestly, finally being a dad. I really am.
Well, Chris, though, I heard these Georgia quarterbacks are throwing the ball too hard at him, man. Did he not call you and tell you that they're throwing the ball? He told that story. You told me there's some other aspects to that story. I'm going to let you finish that story for Kendall.
Oh, no, it was hilarious, because when my mom, you know, she didn't know what to expect when she called me when he and Kalon were playing catch. So when I got the phone call, you know, that Kendall was out front crying because the ball, I said, put him on the phone. And for the sake of this conversation being censored, I can't completely say what I said to him. But nonetheless, my mom was surprised. My mom was surprised. But I tell you what, the crazy thing about it is that what I didn't realize is that moment right there meant so much to the three of us, specifically Kalon. Because the first game that Kalon got to go to for Kendall against Auburn, we all were kind of emotional, right? You see your name on the field really for like the first time, and, you know, you see where you are, so on and so forth. Well, as for Kalon, he got emotional because, you know, he's looking at it from a big brother perspective and was like, man, that's the same little kid that was out there crying because I was throwing the ball too hard at him, right? So he even remembered that situation. So, you know, you don't realize what are pivotal moments in someone's growth until you get to that place and you start to recant those memories.
He told us the story earlier tonight about the Alabama visit and the list on the desk. What are you thinking as a dad? I mean, Kenny sounded like he made up his mind right then and there. He wasn't going to be going to Alabama. What were your thoughts when you heard about that list?
Man, it was something, man. He I never forget that. My brother-in-law was sitting down at the desk and everything, and he saw it and he took a picture of it and texted it over to me and showed Kenny. Made his mind right then. He's like, hey, I don't want to join them. I want to beat them. And I was, you know, one thing by me being the third one, and we've been through that party, that dance a couple of times. I was always telling coaches, man, don't come trying to throw no song and dance. Keep it real. You know, we don't need to hear all that other stuff. You know, let's just keep it real. What's your intentions? Let's, and for him to come and try to throw smoke like that and then slip up and let that left on the deck. That's his handwriting and everything. And I joke with him today about that. Me and him, every once in a while we communicate that, coach. I'm not gonna say the name, but we still communicate about that. You slipped up and made a mistake, and Kenny made his mind up right then. I don't want to join them. I want to beat them.
I'll tell you one thing. I think it's pretty clear to everyone. The apple didn't fall too far from the tree with both of these young men. Great leaders, great fathers. Strong role models. I mean, you can see it right before your eyes. And Chris and Richard, I can't thank you enough for coming on. It's kind of impromptu. We try to keep this show pretty real. Hey, I didn't tell these dads. I said, let's do this earlier today. Hey, I got an idea. Let's go tonight. You see Chris sit in his car, Richard in the kitchen. They're on, right? Anything that they can do for their sons, they're going to be there. And tonight was a very unique and special opportunity. And Chris Milton, I want to thank you very much for joining us. And Richard McIntosh, obviously, you guys, I know you got a lot to be proud of with these guys. And they're doing a great job with the show. We're really enjoying it here in Dog Nation.
Go ahead, Richard.
Really appreciate you having us.
All right, you got it. Well, there you go, guys. We brought the dads on there. You telling them stories. We got to keep you honest. I knew them dads would keep it straight, right? You guys got real quiet then. You said, "Oh man, you don't know what's going to hit now."
I'm just glad that he didn't tap into any of those deep stories. You know what I'm saying? I'm just glad.
That's all right, Kendall. I'll watch it on Sunday, and I join the chat room. Don't worry.
Hey, look.
Don't worry.
Your mom was like, "On there embarrassing my baby now."
Hey, I'm gonna join the chat room. But this is all I'm gonna say. I want to say it publicly. Kendall, I tell you and your brother all the time about how proud I am of you, how you guys are blazing your own path, how I look back at myself when I was 24 and 19, like you and your brother, and I can tell you straight up with humility that I did not have the discipline and I was not willing to make the same sacrifices that you guys made, which is why doors closed for me but remain open for you. But what I will tell you is, when you look back at your family lineage, man, your grandfather, your great-grandfather, your grandfather, and your dad, we've done a lot of things in life and we've been truly blessed. And what I will tell you is we still left a lot on the table. As much as we got out of this life, we still left a lot on this table. My prayer for you and your brother, but you, while I'm talking to you, get everything that's meant for you off that table. And while you at it, go back and get the stuff that we left, bro. Eat, all right? Eat.
Good words. Good words.
Good love.
The same thing to you, Kenny. I'm very proud of you. And I've always told you, man, don't make the mistakes I made. If you listen to me, I told you and your brother, if y'all listen to me, don't make the mistakes and trust me, man, sky's the limit. There's nothing you cannot achieve. And like you said, that, hey, go get it, go eat, man. Go get everything that's out there for you. Don't let nothing stop you. And there's so many things that's gonna come to try to be that blockage to stop you, man. And you know what I'm talking about. Don't let it happen. Don't be that one. There's so many of us that have done it and sit back and live that life what I could have done. Don't be that. You know what my saying is, Kenny? You work hard now and you live easy later, or you live and play easy now and you're going to work hard later. So you make your mind up which one you're going to do.
That's right.
Right. So I'm proud of you though.
Right.
Hey.
Yeah. Man,
Okay.
hey, y'all gonna have us teary-eyed in here, man. Come on, bro.
My baby boy.
Kenny, what do you think? You're a man of few words tonight. You got Clyde there. I say Kendall and Chris ready to go at it again here. They're gonna have some fun about that. He said, "Dad, you didn't have to mention I was crying." He left that part out. We knew he was upset. Dang, Chris.
Nah, he was
Trust me, there's way worse. Trust me, them stories go way deeper. Trust me.
Kenny, Richard told me you had all sorts of wrestling around with your brothers. You didn't tell us all those stories, man. You keeping it kind of down low too.
How many holes y'all put in the wall? How many holes y'all put in the wall?
We had a couple of man, all in the room. That was terrible. But no, yeah, I'm a competitor. Like my older brothers can get it too. Like,
oh, they can get it, huh?
They can get it too.
They had me patch your wall all the time, man. I'm telling you. Nothing else, man.
Had learned how to drywall in that house, huh? They had to learn how to do drywall.
But I tell you, as tough as they try to act, is they can run through a wall on that football field, but them the same dudes that when they come home, they land on their mama lap.
It's okay. Look, ain't no shame in it. Ain't no shame in it.
I love my mama.
For real, I'm a mama's boy at heart.
Daddy's boy, but I love my mommy for sure.
Both of them.
Hey, you get mad at that when you say that. I'm a daddy's boy.
Hey, that was a shameless plug, Richard, bro. Don't even fall for that. It's just because you here, bro. That's all that is.
Nah, you know. My mom knows for sure.
Front seat or back seat?
Front seat.
Airplane or bus ride?
Airplane.
Math or English?
English.
Vanilla, chocolate, or strawberry?
Vanilla.
Strawberry for me.
Yogurt or Jell-O?
Yogurt.
Juice or water?
Juice.
It depends what type of juice. You know?
Yeah.
Really what it depends on. But most times I'm with juice.
Body armor comes.
Hydrate, so I gotta get your balance in.
Yeah, balance. I'll say that too. I was gonna fit for
Steak or chicken?
chicken.
Steak. I give me a nice steak and I give me what's it called? What's the cheese called? Blue cheese. Give me a nice blue cheese,
Bread salad?
Oh, beautiful.
You eat blue cheese.
Yeah.
Why you aggressive?
Don't knock it till you try it, man.
Not on no steak. What you talking about?
Don't knock it till you try it, man. All I'm gonna say.
I'm knocking. What you mean?
Listen, it's like baked onto the steak though, so it's like, bro, look, it only tastes. But listen, it ain't just regular cheese by itself. It's like on the steak, and it give it more flavor. It's that mix of flavors that, you know what I'm saying?
Once I do me a steak, all I need me some A1 sauce.
See, that's your problem.
Potatoes, macaroni, I'm good. Yeah.
Talking about some A1 sauce, that's your problem.
What's wrong with A1 sauce?
You want the basic steak. You gotta expand your horizon.
You just eat cheese on your steak. That's what you doing.
Bruh, it ain't regular cheese. It's blue cheese. You can't knock it.
You can't tell me that no regular cheese. Blue cheese is cheese.
Bro, blue cheese is not regular cheese. I'm busy. Blue cheese is not regular cheese.
Why you can't just say you put blue cheese on your steak? That's the only thing you put on it, right?
Bruh, listen, you talking like this. Why, the next time we gonna go to a steakhouse.
That's the only thing you put on your steak, right?
Now look, we gonna go to a steakhouse, and look, I'm gonna have you order a steak with the blue cheese, and watch, it's gonna change your life.
And I'm gonna get you right. I'm gonna get you right with a nice crab top on the steak with some A1 sauce. A1. It's gonna be.
I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want it.
Listen, eyes on me.
I think you just stole the sauce. Sold the sauce. You stole the show with the steak discussion.